folks, to another edition of Kryptonian Chronicles. Been a little bit since we've done one. Hasn't been as much of a gap between the last one we did and now as it was the one previously. Last time we did was December 14th, where we talked about All-Star Superman. And today...
so a little less than 2 months.
Yeah. So today, as always, on Kryptonian Chronicles, I'm joined by Dave and JD. And today we are going to be talking about Volume 1 of Absolute Superman, Last Dust of Krypton. And with that, I am going to leave us in the capable hands of Dave.
Sir, technically that's hand and a half.
Okay.
I'm also jealous of JD. I can't do that.
Sorry.
So, no, that's fine. All right. So Absolute Superman, Volume 1. This collection was released on August 19th of 2025 by DC Comics. And they released it in both hardback and paperback, which I really appreciate. Is I've gotten to the point I much prefer paperback trades.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yes. They're just an easier reading experience. And they're also a hell of a lot cheaper.
They are cheaper, yes. I like hardback because they look cooler on my shelf, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So this was a collection. It's a collection of Absolute Superman numbers 1 through 6, which was originally published November 6th, 2024 through April 2nd of 2025. Written by Jason Aaron. We'll talk more about him in a second. With art by
Rafa Sandoval.
Thank you for taking that bullet for me.
We don't purposely butcher people's names on this show, but it does happen from time to time.
Yeah. So Jason Aaron is a pretty well-known writer in the comic world. He has done lots of creator-owned stuff. He's most well-known for his work on Marvel, where he created Jane Foster as Thor. I mean, she was obviously around a long time, but he's the one who made her Thor in the mainline Marvel universe. Yeah. He co-created Gore the God Butcher. He wrote the War of the Realms storyline. He's also written Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Punisher Max, and the Avengers. And from what I can tell, this is his first work, or at least first major work with DC. And
yeah, before this, I don't remember him working with DC, but yeah.
So how familiar are you guys with Jason Aaron's work?
I'm familiar with him as far as like his work in Thor and also in the Avengers. I have not read his. Wait a minute. Have I read his Punisher? I may have read his Punisher, but I can't remember now. I may have read part of his Punisher run.
Okay. What about you, JD? Are you familiar at all with his work?
No. And I was going to say that in the trifecta that is the three of us in commenting on this kind of stuff, I'm kind of the one that just does the least reading of comic books. So I kind of come from it. I kind of come from a position of like being like somebody who like offers a what do I want to say, kind of an outside commentary and stuff like that. And
he's our color commentator.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I like the Superman comics. I've used to read them a lot, and lately I haven't. And because of like you guys, and because of the show, and because I've always liked Superman. I'm getting into reading it because of you guys. So I'm kind of coming from it from the perspective of this is all new to me. So I'm not really familiar with him that much. I do like the artwork. The art looked great from things that I've seen from the comics that I've read in the past. I do really like the artwork. It looks great. So yeah. But other than that, I'm not terribly familiar with it.
Cool. I also wanted to say that I'm familiar with him from Southern Bastards.
I've heard that was good. I've heard that was really good. And JD, I like that you bring a, for lack of a better term, normie perspective.
Yes.
You are uber nerdy about a lot of other things, but this, you're not as high on the nerd scale, and so
Mhm.
it's fun getting that perspective of
Yeah.
someone seeing so much of this stuff with really fresh eyes.
And that's kind of that was kind of the what I was going for when I was saying that, is that trying to figure out and I know when I'm in the Star Wars universe I call other people normies, but here I'm kind of a normie looking in,
You're the normie.
instead of being deep seated into the universes of these things. I am the normie kind of looking in, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and it what's nice about being in situations like that, it can remind you of what it's like for people who aren't as deep in your nerddom,
Hmm.
what it looks like from the outside.
Hmm.
And when you then start to realize, oh no, I am really damn weird about some of this stuff.
Man, I am a big
Oh, I
nerd.
know 100% I'm weird about some stuff because
Yeah. All
I
right.
have conversations with buddies at work and they're like, dude, you are a nerd. I'm like, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Oh man.
All right. So this is part of an initiative that DC has going on right now called All In. The two big publishers have gotten into this thing in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, where whatever is happening has to be part of some big initiative.
Yeah.
And it's getting really annoying. It's like, can we just have some, like books and stuff? And everything doesn't need to be leading to the next big event. Can we just, for like a 5-year period, just have ongoing stories? I'm no. The answer is no, because they need more number ones and everything. But that would be lovely. So what's different about this book is it takes place in a different section of the multiverse. So for anyone out there who's sick of multiverse stories, I apologize. I feel your groans right now. It's okay. This one is part of what's called the Absolute Universe, which of course is very confusing because DC already had a set of reprint books called Absolute Editions. Why they couldn't come up with some other word to use, I don't know. But come on, man. Marketing, people.
Well, Multiverse of Madness was already taken, so I mean.
True.
Yeah.
So what preceded this book were a couple of specific stories. One, there was a crossover event called Absolute Power, and then there was the DC All-In Special #1, which was then collected in a trade with the last issue of Absolute Power and a couple of other things. Have either of you read either of those?
So I know that I read the All-In Special. As Absolute Power, was that the story with like the Brainiac Queen?
It's maybe ? It's the big thing about that story is Amanda Waller figures out a way to strip people's powers, and then they get given to, then they basically, people just swap powers like crazy.
Yeah, that's the one with the Brainiac Queen. Yeah. So
Okay.
I've read that. I've read the All-In Special. There was another one that you had mentioned.
The All-In Special and the All-In Saga the saga is the collection that has the All-In Special in it. So I should have been more clear in my 18 pages of notes.
I have read them both. I cannot speak to it with any authority because I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember Amanda Waller. I remember the Brainiac Queen. I remember the heroes losing their powers. As far as the All-In Special, I don't remember at all what happened in that.
Okay, so
other than, I think, is that the one where Darkseid dies?
Sort of. I'd like to do a real quick recap of some of that because it ties into one of my early questions. And I think one thing that you notice reading this book, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but this is an extremely different Earth, and things are wildly different.
Yeah.
And I know, Steve, you've read a number of the other Absolute titles. JD, have you read any of the other Absolute titles at all?
No, I have not. But okay. I mean, just kind of as I know we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but just as a precursor, knowing what I know about the previous Star Wars Superman universes and like the regular timeline, I could tell how much different in just the telling of the story, how much different this particular universe was compared to like the normal timelines and stuff like that. Even some of the offshoot stories from the original like Superman mythos, you could still tell how much vastly different this was.
So I am caught up on this title, Absolute Superman. I'm caught up on Absolute Batman. I am not caught up on Absolute Wonder Woman. However, I have read a very large chunk of that one. I have also read a couple of issues of Absolute Green Lantern and Absolute Flash, and I read the first issue only of Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Why does that not surprise me? That from just the cover alone is tripping balls, and the fact that that would not appeal to you is just utterly shocking.
Well, and it's not just the artwork is great, but I read that first issue and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody. None of this stuff is.
Now, Absolute Green Lantern's good. The only reason I haven't been reading that one religiously is financial stuff.
Preach. Right there with you, my friend. All right, so let's kind of set the stage a little bit. So in the All-In special, there is a big battle with Darkseid. And what's really cool when you read it, half of the book is from the point of view of the Justice League, and the other half is from the point of view of Darkseid. Now, before we get into that, this I'm going to read a little bit of the bit from Wikipedia on this about the Absolute Universe. It features, and I'm quoting now, features previous concept. Jesus, let me try this again. Features previous concepts from Doomsday Clock, Dark Knight's Death Metal, and Infinite Frontier. It is set in Alpha Earth, also called the Elseworld, one of the two pillars of the metaverse, along with Earth Omega, where Darkseid used to be imprisoned. So it's spearheaded by, I almost called him Zack Snyder, Scott Snyder. And the big thing that separates the mainline DC universe and the Absolute universe is the mainline DC universe has is basically influenced by what they call Superman energy, which is there's an underlining energy of hope that is pervasive throughout that universe. In the Absolute universe, it's the complete opposite. So what happens in the All-In special is Darkseid is hella pissed and has figured out that there is stuff about his existence and the universe, that secrets that are being kept from him. And he's like, okay, y'all, I'm going to figure this mess out. I'm going to go take over the Spectre. And he finds the Spectre and has a wish. And this is where they tie in an element from Final Crisis, which is the calm down. Not everything from that's bad. Jeez. Anyway, so there is. It's a what was, hold on, what's it called? Let me find it real quick. One sec. I had this up earlier. Okay, there's fine. Jim Gordon. Okay, there's the Miracle Machine, and admittedly, I can't remember if Grant Morrison created this. I don't think he did, but it's most well known for being used in Final Crisis. And the Miracle Machine can make any wish that you want come true. In Final Crisis, Superman used it to basically fix everything. Is
this like Wonder Woman 1984 type stuff?
No, because that was absolutely shitty.
Well, yeah. But
side note, how does the same crew that made that 2017 amazing movie turn out that absolute dog shit film? How does that happen? It's the same people. Jesus. What are you doing?
Conversation for another time.
Exactly. Anywho, so Darkseid is like, I want to merge with the Spectre, because the Spectre always needs a physical host. For those of you who don't know, the Spectre is is God's arm of vengeance, and in the DC universe, the God is known as Presence. It's some Jack Kirby shit, man. If you ever want to go down that rabbit hole, holler at me. I'll try to explain it, or at least point you in some good Wikipedia articles that might do you some, explain it to you. Anywho, so Darkseid merges with the Spectre and is like, I want to know what people are hiding from me. And Spectre's like, bro, dude, nothing. You are here for a reason. There's a point that you're here. And it's also been previously established in the DC cosmology that the actual gods, like the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the new gods and everything, they exist outside of the multiverse, meaning there is only one Darkseid across all of the multiverse. There's only one Thor, et cetera, et cetera. And they interact with all the different universes. And in this, so he gets a hold of the Spectre. There's a big battle, fight, and everything, and he gets killed. And in doing so, he goes and restarts one of the parts of the multiverse. And this is where, if we really want to get into the weeds with DC's cosmology, which, by the way, how much are y'all familiar with the cosmology of the DC universe?
Yeah, same thing, kind of.
Okay. So at this point, they call it a metaverse. So there's the metaverse, there's the omniverse, there's the multiverse. They're not actually the same thing. The omniverse is basically every story ever from everywhere. That's how things like DC versus Marvel or JLA Avengers or that new batch of stories where Deadpool and Batman are kicking it together. That's how that stuff can happen. And within the omniverse, there are multiverses. And the metaverse is basically saying everything that has ever happened in DC Comics, no matter what kind of reboot has happened, it all happened and it all still exists somewhere. Clear as mud, right? Okay, good. So what Darkseid does is he goes and resets this universe that they had been calling the Elseworld. It first came up, I want to say, in Infinite Frontier, and they really didn't know anything about it. No one had really traveled there or anything. So in doing so, he infects the universe, and instead of having an underlining energy of hope, there's an underlining negative energy, kind of like despair. And so in the Earth that comes about, all of the superheroes, all of the heroes in general, are treated as underdogs. Like they are all coming from behind. Batman is broke as fuck. He is poor. Wonder Woman grew up in hell and was raised by Cersei. So totally different environment for our classic characters to engage with. Mm-hmm. And that is what brings us to all of this. So that was, sorry for the very long preamble.
You're good.
Okay. Any thoughts so far?
It kind of puts, I mean, you're basically, it's putting the absolute Superman and this part of the story in context, I think is basically what we're kind of getting at, right?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to set the stage, because yeah, when you read this book, it is, I think, and this is the edition that I have. Mm-hmm. This is a drastically different retelling of Superman. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the core characteristics are still there, and it takes a while for those to come out. And that's something I liked about this collection is, while there's urgency to the story, it's not in a hurry to reveal everything. Did you all get that impression?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I like it. What's the word I'm looking for? I like it overall, but I think that I like the idea of them taking their time with these, with revealing everything. The problem with that is knowing what I know about DC and Marvel, for that matter, is that this is going to end. So the problem is toward the end, it's going to get rushed. And that slow moving storytelling is going to come to an end.
Where do you think it started to become rushed?
No, I'm saying it's going to be.
Oh, okay, I see. Because comic companies are going to comic company, and
exactly, like right now, it's not being rushed, but like, you know, a year from now, 6 months from now, whatever, this absolute universe is going to end, and the last vestiges of these stories are going to they're going to get rushed. Because they're like, oh crap, we got to get this over with. We got to finish this. So that being said, right now it's not being rushed, and I like that it's not being rushed.
JD,
I kind of so not being as versed in comics as I am, but understanding what the normal background of Superman is. I think the fact that they're going through and they're meticulously kind of explaining things, because obviously this being a Superman from a different universe, or you know, a multiverse, or however you want to define it, I think it's good that they're going through and they're kind of explaining each context, because you know, a lot of people who, if you're not part of the comics and you haven't seen anything beyond, like, say, the movies, a lot of people wouldn't be familiar with Brainiac and who he is. And the fact that they're going through and they're kind of introducing this character as being one of the main kind of guys that he's going to be dealing with, at least for this part of the book, or this part of the comics, this six episodes. The fact that they're introducing him in as being kind of a mastermind character and slowly introducing it, but they've started with kind of going through Superman and introducing him and going through each detail, because when they completely change the context of how he was raised and who he was, they kind of have to explain how Superman will still be Superman without going through what we traditionally know as being Superman. And so I like the slow burn of going through each detail and saying, this is why he is. And they kind of show that the time jump back and forth is kind of cool, because he's doing something and they're explaining what's going on in the present day, but they're also going back and saying, well, this is what happened before, and this is why, and this is how we arrived at this point, and so on and so on and so on. So it's laying down the whole groundwork for this whole different Superman that's still Superman, but in a different context of the universe, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that does. I like that. Now, actually, let's put a pin in that and how they actually, I think, do a pretty good job of staying true to a lot of these like core characteristics of these characters, and just the changes are, it's nature versus nurture type of thing.
Yeah, because when we come back to his, like you said, when we put a pin in that and come back to it, I noticed an interesting like dynamic on that part of the storytelling. So I want to come back to that.
Okay, well, actually, you know what? Let's do that right now, because I wrote down my other thought of something I want to add to the conversation. So continue with us. What's the part you're talking about?
So my interesting take on that is that the traditional story was that he was a child that didn't know anything. He didn't know his parents. He was like a newborn, and he got sent to Earth, and the Kents raised him. In this context of the story, it was actually his parents who raised him on a quote unquote farm on Krypton. And when he was sent away, he was already like a preteen or almost a young adult kind of thing. And then when he gets to Earth, he makes it there. It's almost as if the Kents are like facilitating like a rebirth of who he was and a reintroduction into this new environment that he's in. So if you think about it, in some context, it's almost a reverse of the traditional storytelling. where he's already, like he's newborn, he arrives, he gets educated, he grows up. In this one, he's already kind of grown up with those ideals, and then when he makes it to Earth, he gets reborn as a human, as in their way, with these new people that he cares about and all this kind of thing, and he sees the same thing happening to them that happened to Krypton, and how what happened on Krypton is slowly starting to happen here, and he wants to try to act, but he's not sure how to. He's not sure what he should do. So it's kind of a reverse of the traditional version of it in the timeline of events kind of thing. I don't know if that's what you guys saw.
Steve?
I mean, yeah, I think that's the point of the absolute universe. Is that everything is different. Like everything is drastically different. And I think that's the point. But
what I was saying is instead of it being he grows up on Earth on a farm and he learns how to be, like with the Kents, they always taught him all these things about caring about others and, all these different lessons that he learned with the Kents in the various movies and TV shows. He actually learns it with his parents. And then he's sent to Earth and he translates that to the people of Earth because he finds the Kents and finds out how nice they are and the kind of people that they are and says, these are good people just like my parents were. So I want to take what I've learned from my parents and translate it here on Earth. That's kind of what I was looking at. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. I think that is a good take. So it's fascinating. I think it's a really interesting way of telling the story that the actual origin part we don't get until issue 6, where you finally get Kal-El showing up on Earth and interacting with the Kents. And one of the things that I found really interesting, if you think back to the very beginning of the book, and the book opens up with this scene of this farmer basically complaining about the rain and how the rain's not coming and they paid for rain and it hasn't happened. And then when we get to issue 6, there is this whole conversation with Jonathan and Martha about it's supposed to rain. We haven't had any rain. And I think it's because I pissed off Lazarus Corp. We'll come back to that. And they don't want to give us rain. Did you either of you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed there was a parallel there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like it's also like an interesting parallel that he just happens to come upon another family of farmers because he himself is a farmer, more or less.
And there's a great moment where Cal is walking in Kansas and he makes this admission that even though, he doesn't know anything about this planet, he doesn't know the language or anything, he found home. And he finds such a parallel between Kansas and the Redlands he grew up in. Do you know, Steve, will this let me share my screen? Because there's a panel I got
it should if it's giving you the option to.
Okay. Share screen tips. Okay. Share screen.
That's and I'll just comment real quick while you're looking for that. That's what I was thinking of, was the fact that the Kents couldn't get water.
Yeah. There we go.
Do you guys see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So continue your point, JD.
Well, that's when Steve said something about the parallel. That's what I noticed, was the fact that the Kents couldn't get water where they were at, or no, that that Kal-El's family couldn't get water where they were at because there was something wrong going on with whatever Krypton was doing, and then the Kents had the same thing, and it was all because of somebody over the top of them was controlling the weather and controlling what was going on, and they weren't doing their job, or they were keeping it from them to try to submit or get them to submit to something. And I noticed that was one of the things that kind of led me to that parallel of the two of them, was he's seeing the same thing in an earlier stage going on with the Kents, and it was going on with his parents leading up to, leading up to like the destruction of the planet and the elites leaving and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the reason why I think you're right, that's spot on. The reason why I want to point this out is I don't know about y'all, but sometimes when I'm reading something, there just will be little moments that either crack me up or you just stop and you're like, what is happening here? What is Jonathan doing right here? If you can see me where he says, "Stay away from him, Martha." Is he dancing? Is he falling? Did she shove him? What is happening? I don't
Well, the way
understand this.
her
Yeah,
the
I
way
don't
her
know.
hand is, it looks like she shoved him out of the way to get to the Kal-El. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. She's like, motherfucker, get out of my way. Here's my kid.
Yeah, get the hell out of my way.
So one thing I love about the way the Kents are portrayed in this is Martha is so similar to her Martha here and the traditional Martha. They're so alike. It's one of the few characters that is not just completely drastically different because of the environment. Jonathan is, well, probably closer to Zack Snyder's Jonathan Kent, and because he's more cautious, which considering what this world is like, I would probably be cautious too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just that makes me laugh every time I see it. So I had to jump on that. So I want to get your takes on this. Early on in the book, and we're talking like first issue, there were things that I was noticing that I was like, is this story an allegory? Do you think this book is either in total or in parts an allegorical story?
I would say in parts. And the way it's written, I'm not 100% sure it was intended to be. Like he wrote something and then like maybe after the fact he's like, huh.
Didn't realize that that's what was going on, and it just kind of ended up that way. Yeah, that's kind of what I got out of it too.
Yeah, and I found, I mean, like within the first issue, I found like I think my most hated character.
Oh yeah,
and it's let's see if I can't share the screen of the.
I've got the panel that you.
Okay, yeah. If you want to share that real quick.
Well, it's up there right now.
Okay. Oh, okay. Helps if I'm not looking at 14 different things at once. Yeah. So Jonathan is both Jor-El and Laura are absolutely brilliant in this universe, and they both completely pissed off the upper
Science
class.
Guild, like the Science Guild, yeah.
And so they're like, so they've been shunted off to being laborers. And Jor-El's thing is he's one of the engineers in the mines, and he shuts down this one mine because something bad's happening. And Homeboy here comes down, is like, why is this shut down? And Jor-El's like, because I said so. Some shit's about to go south. Listen to me. And Homie's like, do you see what's on my chest? And he's just all puffed up, macho, and like, no, you're gonna listen to me. We're gonna do this. And I hate this guy. Like of every single character in this book, I hate this guy the most. And boy, does he get a satisfying death.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in the military with leaders who think they're worth more than they are, or ever worked for a boss that's like a complete narcissist, you know that guy.
Yeah.
You know that dude.
Yeah.
100%. 100%, you know that guy.
He is a character that I think is absolutely designed to,
No
whether intentional or not, he's designed to represent those kind of folks.
Yeah. I would say he's a red shirt guy in Star Trek, but I think I'd give more respect to the red shirt guys in Star Trek than I would this dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're just, bless their hearts, they tend to be from the original series just kind of incompetent fools that get killed all the time.
Yeah, but this dude's much worse.
Yeah. Issue 1 is filled with so much stuff going on. There's this one part where how do we explain this? Superman goes around to areas and helps people, especially poor people, and he's in some country, I'm not sure where, and he's helping these miners because these miners are Yeah, something like that. These miners are
Mhm.
getting treated like garbage by
Yeah.
the Lazarus
Lazarus.
Corp,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing is like a world government. I haven't, in the part of the story I've read, they haven't gotten real in depth into that yet. But so in all of this, Superman has an AI in his suit, and I want to ask you guys your thoughts on the suit here in a second. But the suit is like telling him, okay, you got to get out of here. You're not fully charged up. And unlike other versions of this character, he loses his powers quickly if he does too much stuff. It's like he can get exhausted and will need to recharge. And I just want to read a bit of this. Kal-El, this is a planet of combustion engines, fanatical religions, and thermonuclear weapons. These people are never safe. You must never forget the lesson of Krypton. Some worlds simply cannot be saved. What does that scene say to you?
It's saying to me that the AI doesn't want him to waste his time with these people. Like the AI seems like is supposed to be like the Laura created it. It's supposed to protect him and guide him. So it's supposed to be like almost like that Jiminy Cricket type, like his conscience kind of thing. But at times it seems like while he has Cal's what am I trying to say? Shit.
Best interests at heart?
Best interest at heart, he does not have the guiding morality, if you will, that Cal has.
Nice. Good call. JD?
As I kind of looked at it and reread it again, what it did for me was it kind of seeded the idea that in this, what it seems like to me is they're kind of referencing that the suit takes more of a central role in his abilities and what he can do, like with the cape that comes out and does all like the spawn thing, and then like the lava melting, and then just the different abilities that it has, and it wants to protect him and wants to keep him out of harm by keeping him away from things, but he wants to help because of what happened on his own planet. So to me, it kind of seeds the idea that Superman was never about the suit. It was always about him and his moral judgment and what he did, the things that he wanted to do as far as protect people and be a guiding a guide, or just kind of show people a better way kind of thing. And the suit's telling him no in every respect, because the suit thinks that it can't be saved, but he doesn't want to listen to that. He wants to try to do everything he can to try to be a part of that and be a good guy and be somebody who can help them. And it kind of goes back to when they were traveling, like in the later, like I think it's the sixth episode or the sixth issue, when they're talking about he's traveled all these millions of light years from Krypton and they can't find any inhabitable worlds, and then he stumbles across this one and it's the only one that he's got, and it's almost like he's got an attitude of there's no place else for us to go, there's no place else that we can, I can't escape this place, so it's either we do something and we interact, or it just falls to the same type of disparagement and the problems that my original homeworld had. So he's either got to do something or it just completely goes south. So he's not listening to the AI because he understands something that a computer algorithm can't, which is the human condition and that kind of thing.
Nice. See, this is why I love this shit, man, because we all three read the same thing, and the things that jumped out to you guys are definitely different than what jumped out to me. And I love this. This is thinking about it from the point of view of the AI and what is this telling us about this artificial intelligence, where when my first initial reaction reading this, I'm like, to me, what it was talking about, and I think it's probably doing all of this at the same time, is it was, in comparing the situation on this Earth to what happened on Krypton, I think it is also in a lot of ways kind of a warning to us about, hey, if we don't start to get our poop together, things could get, if we think it's bad now, hold my beer kind of thing. And God, that is so cool, having these conversations and hearing all the different ways that people interact with art and interpret what is being said. Now, real quick before we move on, since we talked about the suit, what do y'all think of the design?
No, I like it. I like the design of the suit.
That it?
Yeah,
I'll say this. I like the look. It looks cool. But I like the fact of the original Superman, the powers were his and not the suit's. And it seems like to this version, he's more reliant on the suit, and the suit plays more of a role. And the fact that it's got kind of an Iron Man vibe, where it's got the AI and it's got the I'm figuring this out. I'm kind of like, I like the originality of everything about Superman being that it was all in him. The powers were all in him and everything. And it's like the suit's taking more of a power role and expanding his powers. And I'm kind of going, I don't know.
I didn't get that impression.
I did, because when she puts the cuffs on him and he has to rely on the suit to get him out of the cuffs, I was kind of like, I don't really like that. I like the fact that it was all him. I like the fact that the yellow sun gave him his powers and a lot. Now the fact that he gets drained faster because he's not been on Earth long enough to actually get a full reserve of power, I do kind of like that, because it gives him that air of vulnerability. But I feel like the suit's taking more of a, I don't know. In this storyline, I feel like the suit's kind of taking some of what makes Superman unique away from him. I don't know. That's just me.
Interesting, because go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression, because when he first lands on Earth, for like the first few, I don't remember if it was
months.
Days or
it was
weeks.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
a few
the
months,
AI is asleep and he still has power.
Yeah.
So the suit has nothing to do with his power.
I'm not saying that because there was that part where he kind of did the whole movie thing where he's lifting the tractor and he's helping them do things and he's doing stuff around the house, and then he gets rid of the drones and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that is him.
Right.
But in like the first part of it, he's got like the cape that comes out and heals people, and I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, I can see that, because it is, there are definitely some Iron Man-y elements, which at this point, thanks to the MCU, any type of suit that has any type of AI and does stuff, people, myself included, are immediately going to think of Iron Man. Yes. Whether that is applicable or not. I can see that it's a decent enough, I think, comparison here. I think it's fascinating that your issues with the suit, in a way, contradict what you were just saying about those panels we looked at specifically, and how that the AI and the suit, what you got from that is that really, Clark, even though they haven't called him that, is what's special about this, not the extra stuff the suit can do. And I'm saying, I think they both are, they can live together. I think, because it's different scenes and everything. But
and the thing about what I'm saying in the suit itself is that the suit will not control him. It can't make him do things. It can just suggest things and say, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think you should do this. But he's doing that irrespective of the suit. And the suit is reacting to help him because it knows it has to protect the last vestige of Krypton, as it says. And so
Okay.
the suit has to do, and it has to react to what he's doing, even though it's suggesting otherwise.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I'm advising you not to do this, but I have to protect you because of who you are and because of what you represent. I have to protect you. So it's just kind of weird that it's taking on, the role that it's almost like, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was thinking like Venom, for instance, because Venom's like one of my favorite Marvel characters. So it's kind of like Venom. Like if you watch, like, let's say for instance, for people that may not know like all the background, all the stories of Venom, but like for the movie, like Venom lives, is part of him and heals him and does these things, but it also, the Venom suit has its own like desires and the things it wants to do, and they have to work together. Where I think in, like, say, the movies of the Venom is whenever it takes control, it does what it wants, irrespective of what Tom Hardy's character, Eddie Brock. God dang it, I couldn't. Even irrespective of what Eddie wants, sometimes he forces him into these situations, and then after a while, they start to work together. Where in this version of the suit, it's, I don't suggest this. I don't think you should do this. You need to do this. And he's saying, no, I want to do this. We're going to do this. And the suit is like, okay, well, I have to react to it, even though I don't agree with it.
Okay, I could see that. And that really, when we think about the fact that Jason Aaron has primarily been a writer for Marvel, that kind of makes this make sense. Like where that influence from writing the Avengers and whatnot has come in. And I think wow, I hadn't thought about it. That's cool. Okay, I like that. That is so as far as the design goes, I think the suit looks really cool. I love the gauntlet thing, where how it looks lava-y. I think that's really cool. I do think it's one of the ways the book is structured is that you don't learn until it's either issue 5 or 6 that the suit is also the spaceship that takes Cal to Earth. And what his mom and dad were building is they gave everyone these suits, which would, if something happened to the ship in general, the suits could become their own individual ships. And as you're going through the book and you're reading it, and it's like, wait, why is this cape made out of dust? And why is he spitting out lava out of his hands? And then later you learn, oh, this is the spaceship. So this is a case where I think this is a story that works much better reading in one fell swoop as a collected edition versus then reading it, waiting every single month. Because when I was trying to do that, I was really bad about keeping up with stuff. And by the time I'd go from one issue to another, I'd really forget what had happened. And I felt like I didn't retain the stories as well as when I did the reread for this. So hold on. I forgot where I was going to go with this. Oh,
well, and that's something real quick. I have a thought on this too, is that we were talking earlier and Steve was talking about like the slow burn thing, like kind of introducing everything real slow, but it's going to end fast. If you're going to do a slow burn, I feel like this is the way to do it, because if you do a slow burn, but you do it little bit by little bit, you're going to kind of lose the interest of like your audience. But if you do it all at once and you get the entirety of the slow burn, it kind of makes me feel like that it completes the story better and you get more of it at the same time. So you kind of go, okay, it was a little slow taking off, but now I get why, because we need to explain everything that's going on, because it's not what you remember.
Good call. So that reminds me, this goes back to Steve's point about, we know this is going to end because comics. This is the biggest comparison point that the Absolute series and the Absolute universe has been to Marvel's Ultimate Universe, which for the second time is in the process of dying, though it's dying about as quickly as Return of the King ends, which is not quickly. If you haven't seen that movie, it's amazing. But anywho, I know, Steve, you've read a lot of the Ultimate Universe. Have you, JD, done much with the Ultimate Marvel stuff at all?
No.
Okay.
No, I sure haven't.
Well, that's where like Miles Morales comes from, was the Ultimate Universe.
The original Ultimate Universe,
or any of either iteration.
Well, right. The original Ultimate Universe is where Miles Morales comes from. But yeah, I've been reading mostly the Spider-Man, the Ultimate Spider-Man. I read a few, man, I don't remember how many issues of Ultimate X-Men I read. Did not like it. Do not like it. Not at all. Like, the artwork is great, but it makes no sense to me. What else have I read? I read like the first issue of Ultimate Wolverine. Meh. I read like the first volume of Ultimate Black Panther. I liked it. Not near enough to like keep reading it. It didn't hold my attention as much as Ultimate Spider-Man has. And then there's like, it's their version of the Avengers. I think it's just called the Ultimates. Like, I've read a few issues of that. I actually want to go back and get caught up on that because, like, as you mentioned, it's about to end. So, yeah, I want to see. I want to see like what happens with all of that.
Yeah, you want to see how it all ends.
Yeah, and that one, their version of Darkseid, to put it in perspective, is a guy named the Maker.
Okay.
Who,
So if I understand things correctly, the original Ultimate Universe was just basically, hey, let's make modernized versions of our characters, and we don't want to actually do a full-blown, full-ass reboot of our universe. So let's do the next best thing, which is create the side thing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it petered out. So, and I'm guessing that's what's happening with this current Ultimate Universe, even though it seems like it has not been around for very long. Now, with the, or has it been around for a long time?
I'm looking it up. I'm trying to remember when. I think it started in 2024. So
okay, so not long at all. It's like not even 2 years.
Okay, let me. I'm reading the Wikipedia article.
While you're doing that,
2023.
2023.
2023 is when it started.
So about 3 years. I seem to remember the original Ultimate Universe going on a lot longer than that. Like, it didn't get canned until
yeah, it went on for a while.
But I know one of the things that has been really interesting with the Absolute Universe is how well it's selling. So there is a comic book podcast I listen to called Comics Conspiracy, and it is run by these dudes who run a shop out in California. And in one of the more recent issues, they talked about how it just keeps selling for them. Then our local comic shop, where I host my monthly book discussion group at Speeding Bullet on the third Thursday of the month. Please come on by and check it out if you are in the Oklahoma City metro area. This month we're reading Astro City Metro Book Volume 1. It's very good. Cheap plug out of the way. But these Absolute books are selling like crazy. And so the owner of Speeding Bullet, he has a newsletter on Substack, and then the store has a newsletter, and they have been doing these monthly breakdowns of sales, and also they did a yearly breakdown, and the number of books in their like top 10 that are Absolute is astonishing. Like, this thing keeps selling.
Yeah. Like the Absolute Batman #1, I just read something the other day that it's on its 11th printing.
Wow.
Yeah. And you would think by the time something hits trade, they're gonna stop printing the individual issues. No,
apparently not.
No, you can get this thing in hardback, you can get it in paperback, and you can still get the single issues. It's wild. And so one of the questions that the Comics Conspiracy guys would always bring up talking about the Ultimate Universe is, at what point does, if your side universe is selling better than everything else, and at what point does it just become your primary universe? And
interesting.
And so, yeah, that's not that I think we have the answer to that. I just thought it's a fascinating question to ponder. But also the idea of this petering out, and granted, we're still pretty early into it. We're in its, it started at the end of 2024. So we're about a year and a half, give or take, in.
Mm-hmm.
But with sales going as good as they are, is this going to be the one time a comic company doesn't completely fuck something up and it just keeps going and doing well?
If they're smart, I would say keep going.
Oh, sir, if they're smart.
I said if they're smart.
Yeah.
I wonder, I wonder how well the current Ultimate stuff is selling.
I'm guessing, considering they're canning it already, not well.
Probably not well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think it was both. I've noticed the trend both in Speeding Bullet sales numbers and in the comics conspiracy numbers is most of their top 10s have been DC books with a sprinkle one or two Marvel and one or two like Image. But DC is selling like hotcakes right now as far as in comic shops, single issue and collected editions. I'm sure Manga still outsells all of it, and certainly Dogman sells all of it, 3 times over, combined everything else. But I'm wondering if this is going to be the one time that something like this takes and really becomes firmly established. Which makes me think, God, I'm talking too much. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
No,
so Scott Snyder, who is the architect behind the Ultimate Universe, had a run.
Absolute Universe.
That too. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolute Universe. He did a run after he was done doing Batman. He ended up doing a run on Justice League, and he wrote a series called No Justice. No Justice was terrible, and his Justice League run was terrible. Yet, by all accounts, the Absolute Universe, it just based on sales alone, people love this, and all of the books are doing well by all accounts.
Oh yeah.
And it makes I honestly think,
well, not only just selling, but like critics are talking about this in mass. Like they talk about like that almost pulled a Dave and said Ultimate. The Absolute Batman annual was like all over the news and all over social media talking about it.
Yeah.
And just in general, like everybody is talking about the Absolute Universe.
And so what I was thinking of, if you've ever read the Scott Snyder Batman stuff, JD, did you ever read like the Court of Owls?
I did not read the whole thing, but I do know what you're talking about. Yes.
Okay. So if you think about that story and how dark it is, and I mean, Batman stories are typically dark, it kind of makes sense that the way that Scott was able to finally crack the code with these characters and help get them to work through his vision is setting it in a darker universe.
Yeah.
You can, and from a perspective of just reading of the Absolute comic line altogether, I can kind of tell just from the Superman one that obviously we're dealing with a much darker construct of the original universes that we know. I mean, you can just tell that by the Lazarus Corporation, by the way they portray Lois Lane, the way they portray Jimmy Olsen, the way they're portraying, even like I said, I've kind of read it forward a little bit as far as like not getting into it and not reading it before. But the way that I've seen the way they portray Brainiac, I'm like, wow, this is like some dark stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
you can tell that they're going with a much darker, well, I don't want to say horror themed, but a much a darker iteration of the DC universe with these.
For sure.
Yeah, and I just want to. We might talk about it later, but I absolutely love this universe's version of Lois Lane. Just
okay. You know what? I have that in my notes. Let's jump down to that real quick. And I'm going to, if you don't mind, Steve, I'd like you to, when you post this, share our notes, and I will get you a PDF link that you can just throw in the show notes, because we're not getting to all of this. That's for sure. But there's so there's a really dark scene. Shocker, in a book that's already been dark, but toward the end there's this, and I want to dig into the part more of this scene here in a second, but while this is going on, there's also a thing going on with Lois. And so Lois gets approached by this underground, has been labeled and is probably accurate for this universe as a terrorist organization called the Omega Men, and they're standing up to Lazarus.
So Lazarus.
And Jimmy Olsen is, which I don't think he's named in the first 6 issues, but he is okay.
Like it's way toward the end though.
I was gonna say I don't remember him being named, but you kind of knew it was him.
Yeah, he looks just like it. But so there's the scene where she gets into a firefight, and she's telling Brainiac non-lethal rounds only. And Brainiac responds, and I'm quoting, "Understood, loading eviscerator rounds." And then earlier in the book, she has a moment where she's filing a report. And Brainiac is just rewriting history on the spot. And she's like, no, damn it. And then she writes it herself. And so, yeah, what did you guys think of that? And what do you think of this portrayal of Lois? And how do you think her actual, because I see her, the core of what is Lois Lane, the investigator, the reporter, she is absolutely in there. The writer is in there. Yeah. And it's one of the best, I think, most enjoyable things of this 6 issues is getting to see that come to the forefront. What did you guys think of Lois?
I completely agree. I like how, okay, so Darkseid has created this universe where Lois Lane is not a writer for the Daily Planet, and he stuck her in like this paramilitary role, but yet Lois Lane is still there.
Yeah.
Like, you especially see it in that scene you just mentioned where she's trying to write her report. And she's like, no, fuck, I'll just write the damn thing myself. Wait, what? You'll write it yourself? Why would you do that? And we're going to see it. So we're seeing another parallel here where you've got Lois, who is pissed off at the AI and starts writing stuff herself. And then back on Krypton, you've got Kal-El,
yes,
where you were supposed to use this AI to write your essays and your stuff, and he's like, "No, I'm just going to write it myself."
Literally, that you fail if you don't plagiarize.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
and he goes and he 100% like his parents goes off script and does his own thing.
Right.
Yep. Like he's already learning to be that reporter.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, keep doing it. They're like, you think that his parents are like admonishing him, and they're like, and we only have one thing to say, just keep it up. He's like, wait, what?
That was great. I love that. Yeah, I love that part. Yep, keep doing it. Go on, son.
But yeah, that scene with Lois where she's arguing with the AI is just freaking comical. Like, no, that's not what I said. God damn it! and then that conversation she has with her dad, where it's like, what's this I hear about you writing your own reports?
Yes, yeah, and as you know, as standard, she and her dad have a fraught relationship.
And that's another point where we get into like the allegorical nature of like everybody's so content's not the word I'm using. There's people are starting to rely in many different industries. So many people are starting to rely on AI to do their work, and it just baffles me.
Yes. Yeah, it is such a especially during my reread, seeing how much like this is so about AI in so many ways. What were you about to
Yeah.
say, JD?
Two things I kind of wanted to say as far as like the Lois thing is concerned. One, I really, really, really from this comics, and if they've already done it, don't tell me or don't tell me anything about it because I want to read it for myself. I really kind of hope in somewhere in all this that they do a Lois kind of backstory. Because I would love to see how Lois of the regular Star Wars universe in this universe
Star
came
Wars.
to work.
What's
Or not
Lois
Star
Lane
Wars,
doing in
Superman.
Star Wars?
Superman, sorry. I got Star Wars on the brain, man. How Lois Lane of the Superman universe, how she becomes an agent for a multinational corporation that is basically the government and tells everybody how to do, when the one that we know was always against everything and was always investigating things and trying to get to the truth and all this kind of stuff. You know, like maybe she's like an activist who thinks that doing things from the inside is how she tells the truth or something like that. But how she made it as far as she did without the true Lois coming out, and then all of a sudden she meets Kal-El, and the next thing you know, we're back to the Lois that we know. So I would love to see a really good backstory on. You know, I hope they do write a backstory for her, and I do hope we do get kind of an origin story for that.
Don't they
And
kind
then
of touch on that bit where they're talking about like she didn't really get heavily involved until her dad got hurt? Is that?
They touch on it briefly, but it's literally just, from what I remember, just a almost passing comment.
Yeah, it wasn't very much at all. I mean,
No.
you can tell there's a backstory there, but they really don't kind of go into it. And the other thing I was going to say is I know when it comes to Rebel Nerd Radio and when it comes to what we're talking about, that we don't get into politics, we don't get into that kind of stuff. We try to keep, try to stay out of it. It is really weird how books like this can go, like you said, with the AI, like how people are worried about AI and what AI is taking over and what AI is eliminating as far as jobs and things like that is concerned. It's crazy how there's such a mirror in this story about what can happen or what may happen because of AI, and how the things that are going on with AI in the real world are kind of mirrored, if that makes sense, or it's kind of almost like a prediction or a what could happen kind of thing. What if? It's kind of it's so weird.
I completely agree. That's where some of
here's that panel that we're talking about where she's yelling at Brainiac to, you worthless piece of
Yeah, and JD, you're right. I think that the stuff with the AI, the stuff with Brainiac, is some of the best allegory in the story. And what's great about it, I think, is that it is a social political commentary, but it's not beating you over the head with it. And two, it doesn't seem to be coming from a philosophical point of view. It's coming more from, hey, I grew up watching Terminator and The Matrix. This shit's going to screw us. What are we doing? Which is, I don't know about y'all, but every time I think about AI and stuff, I'm like, did you guys not watch Terminator? Do you not know how it ends?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going to kind of old school and off, but the Terminator 2 was one of my like favorite, outside of like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter and that kind of stuff. The Terminator series, and then for me, the Terminators ended at Terminator 2 because the rest of them were dog shit. But yeah, the first one and the second one is just kind of a, what could happen if machines or we get too dependent upon technology, and what can happen. And like you said, this story kind of like you said, like I said, like Steve's been talking about with the AI, it's another one of those what could happen if we don't act responsibly with it.
Right.
Or, some of the potential consequences. And this is the kind of thing that can go wrong, and it's a way out there version of what could go wrong. But when you think about like how AI in today's world is screwed up, and it's like, it goes beyond like social or political justice and things like that, and it goes into thinking for itself what it thinks things should be doing, or what it thinks things, how it thinks things should end up. It's like this is the extreme, like overarching version of how bad it could become, and it's kind of a cautionary, almost a cautionary tale in a very extreme way.
I think so. You know, and it's amazing to think about cautionary tales about thinking computers, how long those have been going on. So recently I went down a Dune rabbit hole. I watched the 2 newest movies. I watched that HBO Max show, which I really enjoyed. I watched way too many video essays and timelines about Dune. I listened to the audiobook of Dune. I started the audiobook of Dune Messiah, and at that point, I think I had Duned myself out.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is, as that thing is one of the trippiest things I've ever like experienced. I mean, it's not like a Razorhead level of batshit crazy, but it is bizarre, and that is a world that is a complete and total reaction to AI. That they destroyed all of their computers. They call them thinking machines. Yeah. So if you're unfamiliar with Dune, and I don't blame you if you are, because wow, there's so much. But the world that we see, especially in the first book and those 2 new movies, is a world where computers don't exist. To space travel, you have these humans, and everyone on this thing is human. Everybody's ancestors were from Earth. These humans who, in order to navigate essentially hyperspace, they have to be high out of their minds. And they do this drug called melange. It's very French sounding, but it's what they refer to as spice, which as a little kid, when the 1984 film came out, what little bit I saw about that, I'm like, what is this, salt? Are we talking like cayenne pepper? What are we, is this Lowry's? What's happening? But no, it's a drug, and it helps it expand your mind, I guess, and it helps them navigate hyperspace. But in the TV show, and that's based on some of the prequel books, there's a kid who gets caught with a computerized toy and almost gets executed. This is how much they hate computers. So it's fascinating. This is a very long-term, I think, fear in humanity that we have about letting so much control go. But there's another scene I want to get to with one of the peacemakers before we get out of here. So there's this one peacemaker who is losing it, and he's doing he's giving his notes to Brainiac, and this takes place in issue 4. And in this, apparently, it's also called a therapy session, which I'm sorry, no one should be doing therapy with an AI, but I digress. And he's describing the situation of that happens. And so Brainiac just keeps telling him, so you missed. And he's like, no, he said, no, the AI is like, oh, so your gun malfunctioned. And he's like, no, I just missed. So it got blocked or something. He just keeps saying these wrong things. He's like, no, will you listen to me? And basically at the end of it, it sends him back to work. And this guy's like, no, please. He's literally begging. So shortly thereafter, there is an incident, and he is sent back out into service with his broken helmet. Literally, part of his helmet's broken off. And you find out his name is Christopher Smith. This is the Peacemaker from Charleston Comics and from this mainline DC universe. This is John Cena. Apparently, Brainiac couldn't see him. So, but this is okay. Now, tell me if you agree with me on this. If you remember this part, this scene I think is the absolute saddest and darkest thing in this entire book. So they go in to find Superman, and Christopher Smith is like, "Hey, you remember me, pal?" And Superman just goes, "No." and then uses his freeze breath and freezes everybody. And they were trying to save Lois, and she's like, "You stupid bastards! I was getting through to him," because before this, Lois and Superman were talking, right? And so she walks by, and I've just got to read this panel. And Steve, if you can find this one to throw up on the screen, it'd be great. But she sees Smith, and he's literally frozen in ice, and she says, and I quote, "You jackbooted morons did this. You lost Superman, and you let the Omega Men get away. Can you hear me in there, popsicle brains? Does it hurt? I sure as hell hope it does." And then one of the locals says, "Ha, somebody get a picture of this." And then we come later where Smith is being held back by his fellow peacemakers. And they're like, "Calm down, stand down." And he's like, "Wait a minute, what happened? The last thing I remember is being spit on by Superman and being, in ice. What did I do?"
I love the spit on part.
Yeah. And it shows that right there, that moment where he murdered this entire community pretty much. And maybe this is a hot take. I felt so sad for him in this moment, because here's this guy who's obviously traumatized, asking his therapist for help. His therapist completely ignores him, says, "Get your ass back to work. No, you didn't do anything wrong." And he's begging for help. And he shows up, he does exactly what his bosses are telling him to do, and then gets laughed at because he fails miserably, because they're doing the wrong thing, because his bosses are stupid, and then snaps. It is one of the best, I think, ways of showing someone with mental trauma, with trauma and mental health issues, through the guise of superhero storytelling, and through the guise of a guy who thinks he is a good guy, but is actually really part of the villain's army, but is having a crisis on his own. What did you all think of this scene?
It was disturbing. And it just goes to show you that AI, like you said, AI should not be doing therapy, because there's no human component there. And also, this whole idea that, you're fine. Just keep going back to work. We need you out in the field, so you're fine. And yeah, it just disturbs me that this person was let back out into the field, and this is the repercussions of that. You get a guy who, like, as you said, he snaps and kills a bunch of people when he should not have even been in the field to begin with.
And then the poor bastard gets arrested. It's like, talk about kicking someone when they're down, and he should be, because he just murdered a bunch of fools. But JD, what are your thoughts?
Well, you kind of notice that this, you kind of see what you guys are talking about, because when Lois is talking to the same thing and is going through and trying to do the report, you see how it changes the report. It changes the reality of what actually happened. Mm-hmm. And it's completely changing the narrative. And you see Lois, who is not easy susceptible to suggestion. She actually has her head screwed on straight, and she's starting to figure things out. And so she goes off and says, "I'm going to write this myself, because I know whatever this thing is telling me is not right, and it's going to change the narrative." And it's not changing it in a good way. It's changing it in a very evil way. And then they go to the guy, like you said, who has trauma, who has things going on in his life, and he knows things are wrong, and he is not able to fight that and the suggestion of everything. And he goes back out there, and the next thing you know, a bunch of people get killed. So you can already tell that whatever this thing is, if it ends up being Brainiac or whatever it is, it's trying to manipulate people for its purposes. And that AI, and like I said before, that AI doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have an understanding of the human condition. It just has these algorithms or these things that it wants to accomplish, regardless of what that does to the populace, what it does to the people, and how it affects future events or anything. It just says, I have this one thing I want to do, and that's it, and blah, 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 blah. And like I said, you can kind of see that because it just lets people like this out, and they end up doing something without even knowing they're doing it, and it doesn't see that side of it. It just sees it as a goal, and it's
the
going
AI
as well.
looks so happy. Look at him. He looks so happy. Look
Yeah.
at the AI.
Yeah, look at the AI. Oh, look at me. I'm
happy.
Yeah, look at me. I'm a smiley face. And no, don't worry, kids. Listen to me. I know what's best. Your parents disagree with you? Oh, that's okay. Just go against them. It'll be all right. Yeah, that you can see how that can be a big issue. It's okay, kids. That Tide Pod's not going to do anything to you. Just go ahead and eat it. It's okay. Just see what happens. It just tastes funny.
I still can't believe there were people who literally did that. That is, I mean,
But
it
you
shouldn't
see,
shock me, but
somebody that they never met on the internet that they thought was quote unquote cool got them to eat an industrial chemical that killed people. So this reality here of telling a guy who obviously has PTSDs and has a lot of issues that, oh, you're fine. You just missed something, malfunctioned. You're okay. Go back out into the world. It's all right. We don't care. And then the next thing you know, a bunch of civilians get killed. It's easy to see the parallel of a complete stranger telling people on the internet, even in today's society, that doing something like eating an industrial chemical is okay. And then you go into somebody who obviously has military or police PTSD saying, oh, you're okay. You just keep doing what you're doing. It's all right. It's okay. And then the next thing you know, innocent people end up dying because of it.
Yeah.
It's not hard to make that. It's not hard to make that connection.
I think you've really hit on one of the underlying themes of this book is that is how reality gets changed and how not just by perception, but by those in power so convinced in their own narrative that no matter what, that's what they're going to put. That happened all over Krypton to the point where the Science Guild, or how they were called, they knew everything was bad and they built their own ships. And they were like, yeah, girl, bye. And left all the workers, which is funny. Who's going to clean their toilets? But anyway, luckily, oh my God, I was just about to say, luckily they all died. And that's terrible. So we'll add that to my list. So that'll be reason number.
But to me, it kind of left. To me, it kind of left a kind of a open to some of the people escaped, and that Kal-El may not be the only Kryptonian out there. So it left it to where there could be more that show up later down the road who don't share his values.
Yeah. I actually wondered, and I wondered even more so when I read it again yesterday. Is that little girl Supergirl?
Ooh.
Well, because look at the story, the one that we read, Supergirl, the woman of tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it.
Notice what the storyline was is that some of the people escaped and made a makeshift city and tried to survive on that makeshift city, and it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do we know that universe isn't intertwined with this one? Yeah, so there could be more Kryptonians that made it.
So I'm saying, how do we know that little girl is not Kara?
Yeah. And I mean, over time, if this thing gets to last, we probably will meet other Kryptonians at some point because
could you
it always
imagine
happens.
An absolute Supergirl? Oh,
that would be very cool. So I know we've been talking about this a long time, and there's so much in this.
You know who needs to write it?
Who?
Tom King.
Oh, yes. There are a couple of things I want to touch on real quick before we get out of here, because we could go on for hours because there's so much.
We could do a part 2.
Thoughts, gentlemen? Do we want to do a part 2?
No, let's just finish things up. We got a lot of other things to talk about. A lot of other subjects.
Fair. Okay.
So fair enough.
In reaction to this scene we just were breaking down, Superman snaps and finds out where the Peacemaker's headquarters are, goes in, like laser eyes this door, turns it into molten rock or lava, essentially. It explodes, gets all over a bunch of the peacemakers. And so that he grabs one of them and is like, where is Christopher Smith? And he's basically starting to laser eye this man. It's like he's gone almost full Homelander until the guy's like, please don't kill me. And then you have this beautiful panel of Kal-El. It's actually two panels, but this beautiful moment where he's like, oh shit, what'd I just do? And then he looks around the room and he sees all of the other peacemakers are lying on the floor. They're all alive, but I mean, they've got concussions, they've got broken bones. Some of them might not ever walk again. It's going to be real bad. They're not going to have fun for a while. And that at that moment, he's like, okay, I got to go, to the point where he even tells Soul, his AI, I don't care where Christopher Smith is anymore. It's like he doesn't trust himself to be around this guy who murdered all these people. I think because he also just snapped and he was able to pull himself from the brink because he has empathy, so much empathy built into him and compassion, and hearing that plea, please don't hurt me, I think brought him back to reality. And as I'm talking this out now, I didn't realize how much of a parallel this actual scene is to where Cena snaps and turns heel and goes crazy. That would have been a much better heel turn than the one we got that Triple H gave us, but that's a whole other story. So, what do you guys think about that? What were your thoughts on this scene? How did you react to this? And did you catch it as a parallel to what happened with Christopher Smith earlier?
I'm not sure if I. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if I'd say it's a parallel, but it's like two people's reactions to similar. What's the word I'm looking for? Similar
circumstances.
Similar circumstances. But the thing that I drew from Kal-El's reactions and what he does or doesn't do, rather, to me, represents partially Darkseid's ultimate failure. Like, he changes all these circumstances, but you cannot change who a person is at their core. Like, the whole idea was change their circumstances and they will not become heroes. Wrong. Circumstances were definitely changed, but at his core, he is still Superman.
And that is such a great point. And it's so fascinating how he got so many of the same lessons from Laura and Jor-El that his counterpart got from Martha and Jonathan. Mm-hmm. JD, thoughts?
I like the idea of, like we were talking about with like the new Superman movie. We like the fact that some of these things that he's doing shows how easily he could lose control, but in his mind, he's like Steve said, at his core, he's still the Superman that we know and love. But the fact that he's still he's younger, and he's still learning these lessons, but he's recalling back to the things like his parents said and like the things that Martha and Jonathan Kent said to him in the short time that he knew him, and he's still trying to keep that core value of no killing of anybody. He wants to be a ray of hope, and he's kind of learning those lessons as he goes along. And as the events keep coming up, it's what if I go after this guy and I get a hold of him, what am I going to sacrifice in myself if I continue on this path? So he decides to go away and not do anything about it and not go after him. But eventually I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a confrontation, and they're kind of setting it up for it. Eventually he won't be able to avoid that. But at the time, he's still showing that he has this core ideology of hope and justice and these kind of things. And the cool thing I thought was too is that when Lois Lane's talking to her dad about the whole thing, is that he's like, oh, he's destroyed tanks, he's destroyed buildings, he's destroyed, he's knocked down people, he's made them unconscious, but his kill count is 0. And then they kind of reiterated at that point where he very well could have crossed that line, and he realizes how close he came to crossing that line when he blew the door up and he sees all these people that are severely injured, but none of them are dead. But if he continues on, it could become that. And he's like, okay, I've got to step away. I've got to do something different because this is not who I am. It's not going to work out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, there are a couple things, little quick things I think I want to touch on before we get out of here, because we've been talking for an hour and a half, and I'm very, I want to be conscientious of people's time, both ours and the poor fools who are going to actually watch this. Thank you. And I'm sorry all at the same time. What'd you guys think of the artwork just in general?
Loved it.
Oh yeah, amazing.
It was absolutely great artwork. Love the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork. I mean, the artwork is really, really outstanding. But I also want to mention the colors. The colors are also like equally outstanding.
Admittedly, when I say artwork, I kind of think of it all as one. I know different people do that
stuff. That's the only reason that I bring it up separately is because it's a different person doing it.
I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. That's I forget about that often. Yeah, I like you guys. I think this artwork is incredible. I think it is stunning, and it does such a great job of establishing a different universe. Like from the first moment you open this book, right, and you see that first page where it's on that farm, or no, I'm sorry, it shows the city millions or years ago, 9 million light years away. Just from this right here, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is such a different world. All right, lightning
round.
And
you notice something real quick too. You kind of notice that when they go on their little like camping trips, they're going to a red Fortress of Solitude. So it's kind of reverse. It's kind of backwards.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you look at the artwork, it looks exactly like the Superman the movies Fortress of Solitude, but it's in red.
I did not put that together. Which, quick side note, we need to cover Superman the movie at some point. I think that would be.
Didn't we do a review?
We talked about the different Superman, but we did not actually talk about the movie.
No, I think we should do the 78 film at some point, like a deep dive.
Oh, the original movie. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so got basically 3 last questions.
Okay.
Actually 4. Number 1, do you think this is a cynical story?
No.
No.
Is it a hopeful story?
At its core, yes.
JD?
I think it's moving that way, yes.
Okay, cool. Did reading this make you want to read the rest of the series? Or any more of the series?
Yes.
We know, JD, you've done a little bit extra, so you want to keep going. Cool.
Yes.
Steve, I know you have already read a good chunk of it. Do you have any desire to go back and try it again?
Probably not, because I'm caught up with it.
Okay.
I've been like I was saying earlier. This is like one of the few ongoing titles that I am actually caught up on.
Yeah. I get it. For me, I got so much more out of this in the second reading, and that. Yeah, I definitely want to keep going. I can't wait for the next volume to come out. I might even just start reading the issues online.
There are certain things about the rest of the story I don't want to say I dislike. I will say that I like less than this first volume, but I'm not going to mention any of them because I don't want to spoil it for JD.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right. Any final or overall thoughts?
Go ahead, JD.
I think it's interesting that there's so much in these first 6 issues or this first volume that we've actually been able to make an hour and a half conversation strictly talking about just some of the major points in this.
And we're not
And
even
the fact-
like we could go more. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, and that's why I said we could do, like, to this conversation, we could do a volume 2, because I'm sure I've seen Dave's notes. I know there's more questions that we could ask. There's more things that we could go into. And it's interesting, but like Steve said, we've got a lot more stuff that we want to get onto, which is like the second half, volume 2, things like that. We could go on and talk more about it. And it's so interesting that a story like this, even like when we talked about Supergirl and the Woman of Tomorrow, we had a lot of talking points that we had, but it seems like we covered, for the most part, we really kind of covered most of that. But here we're getting into even, we could talk about more. We could even talk about more and do more deep dives. But like you said, we've got more that we want to talk about. We want to go on with that. And so it is I like this story. And like you said, like Dave, you asked the question, do I want to go on with it? Oh, absolutely. I want to see where this all ends up and and I want to see it develop into a story of hope, like the Superman stories that we're familiar with. I'm anxious to see how that all comes out. So yeah, I really want to see where it goes from here, and I'm anxious to read the next volume and go on. And like I said, I've read one beyond the 6, and to me it got even. I was like, whoa. Now I want to go even more, and I want to see where it goes. So yeah, I'm very interested.
Very cool. Steve, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I would really like to see this first volume adapted into an animated movie.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, they did that whole set of animated films that was primarily based on the New 52.
Yeah.
If they did something like that, oh, that'd be so cool.
I would love to see this I don't want to see it in live action, but animated, definitely I want to see this. And I think, and this may come as a surprise. Well, I don't know if this will come as a surprise to you. But as well as Absolute Batman is selling and is just overall doing so well, it really surprises me that this one, while selling well, is not selling as well as Absolute Batman.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
In some ways, this is a better story.
I mean, yeah, I haven't read Absolute Batman yet. I need to. We're gonna do that at the book club one of these days. But I'm not surprised at all, because Batman outsells, well, right now, damn near everything.
That's fair. That's fair.
DC, Marvel, Image, it doesn't matter unless it is written by Dave Pilkey or Renee Tangle, the lady who did the Smile books. Unless it's written by like one of those two or some other fucking manga thing I don't know about. No, Batman outsells all of it. It's wild.
I just mean it's surprising because it is at its core a better story.
Yeah, but when did better stories actually mean success?
Well,
I mean, it's doing well, especially for a Superman book, which is really all that matters. Okay, 2 last things. Rating out of 5 stars. What do you give it?
5.
JD, 5.
5.
Ooh,
5.
Full 5. 5. Excellent. I would go 4.5. I think it's really good. It's
so far I'm saying that it's piqued my interest. I like the artwork. I like the storyline and where it's going. I would say right now 5 based on the interest of it.
Let me give a caveat. Volume 1 is a 5.
Yeah, I'm just talking about these first 6 issues.
Right.
Yeah, just that.
5 for the first 6
I
issues.
wanted to say that too, because I haven't read the rest of it, so I don't know the overall working story. But the first 6 issues,
my rating would change if we were doing like a volume 2.
Yeah. And actually, okay, if I'm going to be honest, this is actually at 4 stars for me. I got shocked so much by y'all's both giving it 5 that I was like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm burying the thing. You know, if people actually cared, they'd be like going on Reddit. Dave Brown, he hates Absolute Superman. He thinks it sucks. Wow, the Star Wars and Batman guy, fucking love it. Oh, okay. And one final thing, I'm stealing this from our good buddy Justin, and we do it on the show I do with him. Did we win?
Did we win?
Meaning, did we win by having to read this? And was this a positive thing? I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You listen to Punk
100%.
Auto Pod. They ask that at the end of every episode. Do you not? Have you checked out by then? At that point, have you X'd out? You're like, oh, they're done.
I probably have checked out by then.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, hey, have we decided what we're doing next month, or are we going to announce that later?
So our next episode, we can either do Superman the movie, like you mentioned, or, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to jump to a movie before we go to the next comic book.
Okay, let's do that.
Because I think the next comic book we had decided on was going to be Up in the Sky.
Yeah, let's do Superman 78. That'll be a nice little change of pace.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
And we don't have to do any reading or research for that, because I don't know about you guys, but I've seen it like hundreds of times.
Oh, don't worry. I'll still have a nice document. Might not be 17 pages, but
you're gonna make me watch it for the 101st time. Oh God, whatever will I do?
I will watch it again before we.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
I'm watching the extended version. Damn it.
Sounds good. All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much. This was a blast as always. And thank you for everyone for everyone on Patreon for supporting the show and everything that Steve and JD do. They couldn't do it without you. And I know how much they appreciate you. So
yes, 100%.
And
100%.
You two, thank you for putting up with my dumb ass and bringing me on board for this. I enjoyed it thoroughly and look forward to doing the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
See you next time, folks. Bye.